as she admires her son's beamskin rug.
That's weird. Mary cut that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's weird. Fucking creepy.
Hey, get in here. Dallas is about to start.
Welcome to the Ewing Barbecue. We are a Dallas rewatch podcast where we rewatch every single episode of Dallas and review it one at a time. We even play a drinking game to it. Why don't you come and buy us a drink and join us? My name is Mary.
I'm Josh, and I'll take any drinks that you have, and you want to bring edibles too.
And I'm Melanie, and those sound great.
A quick thank you to our Patreon members. Brendan Phillick, Captain America, Amy Hara, Brad Mulholland, Marie Johnson, Michael Ewing, Jason Carter, Jennifer Indelicato, Laura Bernheim, Paul Reich, Anita Wren, and Kristen Carlano. Patreon is where our listeners and friends actively support us. Every dollar goes back to the production of the show. In return, we try to give supporters extra content, like outtakes, video interviews, archive of fun, like cast-adjacent videos, like Patrick Duffy and Charlene Tilton's music videos, which are hilarious. We had a book club for a while. We have some notes from some of our episodes. So if that is something that you would be interested in helping to support us, that would be amazing. Go to patreon.com, or you can even just join for free, and you'll get some extra updates from us, and there'll be some extra content.
And I did read chapter 19 of that book, so that might be up, might be coming. I don't know, so we'll see.
Man, I don't know if I can keep reading that book.
Nah, I feel
it makes me feel dirty.
and not a good way.
And not in a good way, exactly. Ew.
Yeah, not in a good way. Yeah.
It's just disgusting.
Also, if you could do us a big favor and go on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review, that would be amazing. Because that's something that doesn't cost any money and super helps us.
Upcoming appearances first. Not Tyler Banks, the other John Ross there. Omri Katz. The weekend of the 20th of April is at New Jersey HorrorCon with the Hocus Pocus crew. The podcast Keenan and Lakin with Stacey Keenan and Christine Lakin doing the Step by Step podcast have just released their special episode. I believe it at least covers 90s Con and might cover their appearance at the Hollywood show. So, and they talk about Patrick Duffy's 75th birthday celebration. Deb Trinelli and Jenna Lee Harrison are at Chiller the last weekend of the month. That's what, like the 28th around there? 25, 26, 27, 28.
Wow. It's been a year since we went.
Yes, it has been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Barbara Eden will be at the Hollywood show in June in Burbank, where we all were.
Oh.
And Southfork, did we all see the Real Housewives of Dallas when they went to Southfork?
No, I didn't ever see that.
Okay. A lot of people know her as the First Lady of Southfork. Jana Tim, who was the general manager, she has been let go. Mm-hmm. She is no longer at Southfork. So I just want to give her a shout out.
I saw Charlene Tilton posting about that.
Yes, and I had to actually walk Charlene through how to tag somebody on Facebook. So she texted me yesterday, and we got that taken care of. But a shout out to Jenna, she was basically like another Southfork Sally Peavy, who was there forever, and they both were a Southfork, and I'm actually gonna try to see.
So it was not her decision to leave then.
No, it was not. And the rodeo corral has been torn down and is being rebuilt because they have a very big rodeo coming in at the end of May down there. That's running for several days. So probably trying to update and modernize everything. So birthdays. Let's see. So, April 3rd, turning 80 years old, Hunton von Leer, who played B.D. Calhoun.
Wow.
80.
80? Holy shit. I didn't realize he was that old.
I know.
Yeah. He was also in Halloween 2.
Wow. Yeah. He gets his head pulled off.
Who doesn't get their head pulled off in a
Right?
Halloween movie?
No, but like literally off his body. Like,
God. Ugh.
I'm pretty sure.
What the fuck?
April 11th, 1992, James L. Brown, who played Harry McSween, died.
Aw.
Birthday, he'd be 105 on April 13th, Howard Keel, 1919.
Oh.
Stephanie Blackmore, who played Serena, is 76. Jeez. And also on that date is Michael Aldridge, born 1941, so that's 83. He played 9 episodes. He played Ray King, Steve Jackson, and police detective Don Horton. So 3 different roles he had on the show.
Wonder what the record is for like different roles on the same show on Dallas. That's a
question. We're throwing it out there.
We should figure that out. Yeah.
On April 14th, 1950, so 74 years ago, the beamskin rug was born. Randolph Powell.
Brought into our
world. And featuring prominently in this episode, April 15th, she will be 77, Lois Childs. Miss Holly Harwood.
Hey, Harwood.
Everybody's getting up there. 45 years old on April 19th, Tyler Banks. John Ross, the baby. And we'll leave off there because I don't want to end with 2 death dates yet, so we will put those on hold.
Okay. All right, so tonight we're talking about season 6, episode 24, which is episode 127 of the series, Cuba Libre.
Between the beach, the nights, and all this atmosphere, I wouldn't want you to fall in love with me for the wrong reason.
And what would the wrong reason be?
You'll have to meet him in Cuba. If you want your $40 million, that's where you'll have to go to pick it up.
No wonder my brother stepped all over you every chance he got. Now you just keep your nose out of my affairs, or I'm gonna do the same thing.
Do not cause trouble.
Hey, wait.
It was written by Leonard Katzman, directed by Robert C. Thompson, and aired March 25th, 1983. The number 1 song in the U.S. On that date was Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. And in the UK, a personal favorite of mine is There's Something I Should Know by Duran Duran. A band so good, they named it twice. I used to have a pin that said that on my Jeep jacket.
Duran Duran fan here.
Duran Duran's amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. So the number 1 film in the U.S. is called Spring Break. And I never heard of this. So it was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, best known for directing Friday the 13th, Part 1. And it stars no one you have ever heard of in your life.
And no one you will ever hear of again.
So like a B movie, basically.
A check. Okay, it's exactly what you think it is. I have the trailer for us. Hold on.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Nelson, wherever you look, skin.
This is
Titties.
What a stereotype.
Fort Lauderdale. 250,000 kids here for the sole purpose of partying.
Nelson
those cars
and
almost
Adam
crashed.
Stern are about to get the break of their lives. Spring break.
Oh, so basically American Pie like
For some,
16 years
it's the start
before.
of a whole new education.
I think it's probably Porky's ripoff at this point.
Porky's, yes.
Oh, Porky's.
For others, it's a more advanced course.
Gee, I wonder why we don't know this movie now.
You can learn a foreign language.
Buenos dias.
Or expand your present one.
Son of a...
You can learn martial arts,
Was that Larry?
home economics,
Larry from Three's Company.
protection.
culinary art,
For Three's Company.
Richard
and
Klein.
all sorts of sports. There's something for those into the performing arts.
Something in the pelvic thrusting.
That's an awesome
And something
jumpsuit,
for
though.
those into nature.
Oh, Nelson.
Columbia Pictures presents Spring Break. It's the reason kids go to college in the first place.
I still don't know where my underpants are. Why, what happened to them? I think they ate them.
So that was Spring Break.
That's my new favorite movie. No, just kidding.
It is everything you'd think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the top news story from this date, March 25th, 1983, was the Motown 25, a concert celebrating the anniversary of Motown Records, is taped for broadcast at the Civic Auditorium in Pasadena, California. Performers include The Miracles, The Temptations, The Four Tops, Diana Ross and the Supremes, the Jackson 5, and of course, Michael Jackson unveiled his moonwalk dance move. Oh, I 100% remember that so much because at school the next week, like everybody was doing it. I tried for like 10 years. I still can't moonwalk. I can't do it.
Talent.
I'm not very coordinated though. So
Me either.
You know,
I can do the
died.
I can do
What?
the pelvic thrust and the crotch grab like Michael Jackson, but I can't do the moonwalk.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll demonstrate later. No. Hey,
Oh, I think was the glove also brought out at that performance for the
the
first time?
sequence, silver sequin.
sure.
Glove?
The sequin sparkly
Oh,
glove.
I don't know.
The
I'm not
glove.
sure, but I think it might have been. Huh?
The glove?
You don't remember well, you're young. That's why you don't know. Yeah, Michael Jackson had he would wear one.
So he wouldn't
glove.
leave fingerprints on
Like,
the
and it would be
boys.
one-
No.
One, I mean, probably true. Yeah, it was
Probably.
just on one hand, and it was white, and it was like really shimmery. And,
Silver sequins.
Oh, like when he was wearing that Zorro hat. Kind of. Did that go with it? His ensemble?
I mean, I think the Zorro hat was a little bit later, but
Oh, it was.
yeah,
You know,
that's okay.
let's get.
It was a big deal for me. I thought it was cool, and so I would go around wearing. This is how uncool I was. I would wear one of my like Easter gloves, and to make it sparkly, I'd put like earrings on it.
Oh my.
Oh.
I was like 7. Don't judge me.
That's so cute, though.
So died on this day was Bob Waterfield. He was an American football quarterback. He died at 62. And Martha Sleeper, an actress best known for Spitfire, died of a heart attack at 72. And on Dallas.
And on Dallas, there were no notes, but this episode dropped from number 3 to number 4.
March Madness.
Yeah, I know why it's called March Madness, because I used to go mad because they would preempt Dallas and Knots Landing.
Part
Or
sports.
sports ball, as you call it.
Basketball.
Yeah. Don't approve.
Not gonna do it.
0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
Yes. Okay, so we open on a pan of Southfork's backyard and pool
Very
area.
dramatic music, I might add.
Very dramatic. This whole episode is so dramatic. Like dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
JR is inside. He's setting up a quick trip to Puerto Rico to see Garcia. And when Sue Ellen walks in on him making plans, and she's like cold as ice.
You're as cold as ice, and you're willing to sacrifice our love. So,
And he hangs up, and they start talking about it, and she's, like suspicious and stuff and kind of giving him the cold shoulder. And he's like, do you want to go with me? And she's like, no, kind of like, I got things to do. And he's like, okay. And he's like, is something wrong? And she's like, no. And she's like, don't be suspicious. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, I hope you have a nice trip. Like, are you going to be back? That whole thing.
She's getting super pissed, but then at the last minute, she's just like, okay, stop. Until you know, just bring it down. Bring it down.
And he's like, you know what? I'll try to be back tonight. Kisses her goodbye. Leaves.
I was rather distracted by the light bouncing off of that giant wedding ring.
It is a pretty big wedding ring.
Yeah.
It's almost like JR had something to prove.
Is he compensating?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Then we got to Ewing Oil. Katherine brings Andrew Forrest from Wentworth Industries and from Houston to help Bobby with his drilling problem.
Couldn't that have been a phone call?
That is exactly what I was like. He flew in from Houston for like a 2.5-minute conversation.
That could have been done over the phone.
That could have been done completely
1983's equivalent of meetings that could have been emails.
Was this a friend of one of the crew or somebody that won a contest for a walk-on part or something?
I don't know. Maybe. Just so crazy. He's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can talk to Preston at Tool and Die for you.
And Catherine's like,
see if they know anything.
Oh, it helps that I own part of the company, haha. And and I'm like, well, Tool and Die, isn't that what Cliff was head of before? Like Rebecca was like, I want you to resign, and all that stuff went down. I'm like, ooh, Tool and Die, okay, Tool and Die. What are they doing?
They're tooling.
It's a drill bit.
They're tooling and they're dying.
Yes. They're manufacturing something big, something reinforced that they have to get through the most extreme conditions with.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they discuss Pam running off to wherever she's gallivanting in Cannes.
Yeah, in France. And Katherine does that thing where she's like, oh, I shouldn't have brought up Pam going off with porn stash.
Bitch, please. You know exactly what you were doing.
Girl.
Shut up.
Right.
You got the subtlety of...
Yeah, she does that. And the Oscar goes to Katherine.
Whatever, Katherine.
With those crazy eyes.
Bobby's just like, whatever. I don't want to talk about it. You know what? And since she's gone, I'm going to come pick up Christopher so I can spend some quality time with him at Southfork. And whatever.
With my son.
Right.
Yes.
And then Katherine's like, oh, okay, well, you can come over tonight and pick him up. I'll have him all ready for you.
And I'll...
In my bedroom.
And I'll be wearing panties and nothing else.
Anyway.
So then Aunt Lil calls Donna. And she's like, I just miss Michael so much.
Now, that really confused me. Because it seemed like she could, she was a hovering like helicopter mom kind of, but she also at the same time like couldn't wait to get rid of him. And now she's like, oh, I miss him, and he's just like, Mom, sit, like you don't need to come. She doesn't need to come. Like she does not need to come here.
She just always sounds like she's whining when she's talking.
And Donna suggests a visit, and then she goes, I don't know about flying all the way out there. Like she's going to the other side of the world.
You're in the same time zone, woman. 2 states down. Right. Stop.
It's in Arkansas,
It's
right?
Emporia, Kansas to Dallas.
Emporia, Kansas.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, that's not that. I mean, that's maybe an hour and a half.
The plane goes up, the plane comes down. That's how yeah.
Right. You're not going to get a full meal.
Uh-uh.
You're going to get
You're going to get a bag of peanuts.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Drink it fast.
Right.
You're not getting the whole can. You're just getting
the plastic cup.
A little bit.
As soon as you get up to pee, they turn the seatbelt sign on and tell you that they're descending.
In fact,
Exactly.
as they're handing you your drink, they're telling you to return your tray to its upright position.
Basically.
Yes.
Right.
And they're there with the garbage bag as they're handing you the drink. So
I feel like that happens sometimes where I'm like, I just got this, and now, all right.
And then they come
I don't
right
drink
back down
that
the
fast.
aisle with the trash bag. Yeah. And then they don't come back again until we're descending. I'm like, hey, could you have come back and taken this trash before now? Like when y'all are trying to land this plane, but okay.
But
So anyway,
but
speaking of planes, she's going to get on one because Donna's made all the arrangements.
Yeah, Donna's paying for it, I guess. So Aunt Lil's gonna come.
I don't know about flying all the way out there.
I can't. I can't. She just sounds really annoying. I mean, she means
Do you understand why Michael wanted to leave home now?
Fuck yeah. If I was Michael, I would get the fuck out of
She's
there.
a worry wart. She worries about everything. Am I getting in the way? I don't want to make you do any work. I don't want to put you out.
Let's see.
Just shut up, woman, and just take what's coming to you. A trip to Dallas on an airplane.
Oh, here we go.
Porn Stash brings Pam a huge gift box.
It's what she wants to.
It's a dick in a box.
Dick in the box. Oh, you gotta insert that, by the way.
I'm gonna insert it. Because I downloaded it and it wouldn't upload earlier.
It's what he wants her to wear on the beach and in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah. So this is bold. This whole scene is very bold of him.
This whole situation is bold.
Oh,
but yeah.
Maybe if.
Yeah, so he gives her there's absolutely nothing in the box.
Or the box within the box.
Right.
And I think he wants to create some body heat to warm up the temperature over in France because it's cold and rainy.
And Pam thinks this is hilarious. She loves it. She thinks it's so funny. And I'm like, what, girl?
And he's like,
she's having a great time.
Dropping stuff the doctor.
Can you check
Dr. Graison?
Can you check the fourth finger? Can you check the fourth finger on your hand and see what that little round thing is with the little sparkly things? It's called a wedding ring. Woman, you're freaking married. You may be separated, but you're still freaking married.
But Mark he's like, I know that I promised to remain out of sight. Because you know what? I wouldn't want you to fall in love with me for the wrong reason.
No.
And how does Pam react to that?
She's like, what would be the right reason?
She said, okay, serious eye contact. They're like eyes. And then she replies, what would the wrong reason be? I'm like, girl.
If we could see what their eyes.
People online hate Mark.
If we could see what their eyes would see, it would not be allowed on television because they would be seeing each other naked. Right. They are undressing each other with their eyes.
People blame Mark online all the time. Like, yes, Mark isn't great. He has bad intentions.
Is no chill.
But also, no chill. But Pam is 100% not doing anything to deter him at all.
Nope.
She's like, oh yeah, just keep going.
Meanwhile, he's getting aroused down below because she's leading him on.
Yeah.
If he were in middle school, he'd be afraid to stand up from his desk because he'd need to put the books in front of him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a freaking boner.
Oh.
And then Sue Ellen goes to see Bobby at Ewing Oil. And I respect that. Okay. Sue Ellen has decided, I feel like when she was like in the other scene where she was like, what am I doing? She does something. that I absolutely love, where she like goes against everything that's ever been done on Dallas, where she's like, you know what? I'm just going to flat out ask questions. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to find out the truth. So she goes to Bobby and she's like, what is going on between JR and Holly Harwood?
And Bobby tells her, like, well, partnership. And Holly's pissed because JR lost like $17 million of her company's money, but he also owns 25% of the company. And she's like, so they're business partners. And he was like, yeah. And, she is finally like, oh, okay. Like, you can see the wheels turning. Like, she's like, I think this is about revenge now. This is what it is. And so, of course, she's
like, would he have a reason to be mad at JR? And he's like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, she hates him.
Yeah, and it's like, and Sue Ellen's like, okay, this is, I'm on to something now. And she's basically like, Bobby, I know we've been on opposite sides, but I still love you like my brother, blah, 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 blah. And I hope you understand I'm behind JR all the way. And he's like, I kind of envy him. Actually, I can't believe I said that out loud.
I know. And I give Sue Ellen props.
I love the relationship.
I give Sue Ellen props, though, as you said, for investigating instead of going straight for the bottle.
And I also...
You better wise up, Janet Weiss.
Sue Ellen's... I also applaud Sue Ellen's, like, moment of vulnerability, because she's, like, real hardcore sometimes when she and JR are like, good. And she's nasty to everybody else. And she's like, Bobby, no matter what has happened between us, like, you're still important to me, and I love you. Like, she tells him that. Like, your family.
That is also big. We are seeing Sue Ellen grow before our very eyes.
But she's like, I gotta Tammy Wynette this. I gotta stand by my man.
She's kind of out of fucks. She's like, if he's cheating on me, whatever. So I have all the fucks gone. Need to find out the truth.
Yeah, and then at the same time, she's like, if he's not cheating on me and this battle drags on, love you, mean it, but I gotta stick with him because that's my husband.
Yep. You gotta wise up, Janet Weiss, Sue Ellen Weiss.
And Ray and Mickey come home from work and to see Donna's note about Aunt Lil coming, and then Mickey starts getting nervous about it.
That becomes apparent why he becomes nervous later. And it's kind of weird, I noticed, because this will make sense when we get to that scene, but I feel like what Ray is telling Mickey here is true, but on the opposite angle of things. Like, Ray thinks that Mickey doesn't think his mother's going to fit in, and that, like, she doesn't think, he doesn't think that she's good enough to hang out around those people, when I really feel like it's Lil that's like, you're out of her league and all that stuff. Like, what do you guys have in common? But we'll get to that part.
Yeah, we'll analyze that when we get there. But that could be spot on.
And feeling like he's changed. Like, he might be above, where he was.
Above Emporia and above going home and not wanting to do anything with those bumpkins back there.
Which sadly would include his mother, who is still one of the Emporia bumpkins.
Well, that's when you send away from Mama and move her to Southfork.
As Ray immediately goes to pissed mode in the scene. Where he's
like, I'm a smart cowboy.
He's like, we're not just dumb cowboys. We're smart cowboys
We're smart cowboys.
Right.
We're worthy.
And we're good men.
We're good stock. We're good stock.
We're good people, and so's your mama. I know where I come from, blah, blah, blah. I mean...
We're not Amy Stock or Barbara Stock, but we're good stock.
Speaking of stock, the next scene is a stock shot of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So we get nice, like, little. It looked very much like a stock shot from the Love Boat.
Probably
like
was.
When they would port somewhere. It probably
and
was.
Speaking of the Love Boat, I want someone to do a total count of the number of Dallas people that appeared on the Love Boat.
I feel like that wouldn't be hard to do.
Somebody out there
go
do
through the IMDb. Yeah, someone other than us, please go do that let us know. And then maybe we'll have you on that episode. Just contact us. Ewing BBQ.
Because I'm busy booking some more guests for the coming weeks. What?
And I'm editing shit.
And I'll be giving you things to edit.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm behind. I need to edit last week's too. So anyway, Garcia is in his office. His secretary comes in and he's just basically like, is JR still out there? And she's like, yeah, he's been sitting there for 4 hours.
Oh
a game
my
of
God.
one-upsmanship.
And I was like waiting to see what JR's face was going to look like when he walked through the door. Because he had to be pissed sitting out there waiting.
No, but
do you know who I am?
JR said, well, yeah, I've done the same thing myself. It's all one-upsmanship here. Taking full advantage of it.
JR gets what he's doing, and he's like, all right, I guess I'm on the other side of it right now. Fine.
And basically, they come cutting to brass taxes. He says, you're getting $1 million for your fee, which is more than the zero I was going to give you.
And he kind of like looks at him, thinks about it for a second. He's like, okay, fair. And then JR pushes his luck and he's like, and I want your Cuban connection to come to me. And he's like, yeah, buddy, that's not going to happen because that guy has your oil. So there's absolutely no reason for him to do that. And also you're going to have to pay him too and go to Cuba. JR's like,
do you think Bobby would like
really?
Cigars for his birthday?
I gotta go to Cuba. Really? And Cuba, like, shit, we couldn't go to Cuba until very recently, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. Really, we couldn't.
Like, the past couple years.
Unless we had a damn good reason to be there.
You could go there. My brother-in-law actually went there for a class in college, but you have to, like, fly to Canada. And then from Canada, you have to fly to another country and then go to Cuba. You can't fly direct.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was little and I used to visit my mother in Florida, and I would be put on the plane and sent down, and she tried to scare the crap out of me. She said, well, occasionally they hijack airplanes and take them to Cuba, but they'll treat you nice and they'll turn around and then they'll send you back to where you're going.
Oh my God. That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I would have been like, well, I didn't think about that before.
Telling this to a 10-year-old?
Right.
Oh, geez.
Like, well, that's all I'm going to think about.
Isn't that when all that stuff with all those planes was going on in the 80s too? The hijackings, the crashes?
Yes.
That stuff was happening. And I'm sure that she was worried about it, but...
Wow.
As a mother who's made very similar mistakes with her children,
So locker.
I get that she was just like, oh my God, this is a thing that could happen that she shouldn't have said to you.
Lockerbie, Scotland, plane crash. Was it Pan Am that crashed on Lockerbie?
Oh shit, I don't know.
I seem to remember that. I think my sister had friends from college that might have been on that plane.
A friend of my husband's speaking of plane crashes, did a really, really cool documentary that I don't know if it's streaming somewhere, but you should Google it. It's called Soul Survivor. And it is about people who've been in plane crashes where they were the only survivor. And they have basically a club where they meet and talk because no one else will get that trauma.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Really interesting.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard. I'm going to have to look for that. Have you guys ever heard? There's this urban, I don't know if it's urban legend. I heard it from someone I used to know that worked for Delta Airlines for years. She told me that there was a Delta Airlines flight attendant who survived a plane crash twice.
Really?
Yeah, I think possibly I've heard it both times they were trying to come into DFW. I'm not sure. Or Love Field, something like that. Wherever Delta flies into. I think DFW is American. But I'll have to see if I can look it up and see if that was actually true, because I don't know. Once would be enough for me, but this lady kept on flying. But the second time she was like, nope, I'm done. Apparently.
I do know that there was someone who worked and survived the Titanic only to die in the Lusitania.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Right?
Oh my God.
Well, my father's mother and her husband, my grandfather, obviously, they used to go to this place in Boston called the Coconut Grove every Saturday night. And the babysitter canceled one night. And so they stayed home. That was the night of the famous Coconut Grove fire where like 400 or 500 people died.
That's why I've heard. I was like, why does that sound so familiar to me?
And then years later,
holy shit,
that was in like 1941, thereabouts. Jump forward to 1980, my grandmother does die in a fire in her own home. So it was like she was being spared from one fire to die in another fire.
It was November 28th, 1942.
1942, that's right, yes.
492 people.
I've totally seen some sort of documentary in that.
Wow.
Damn.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Charges.
Well, speaking of going out to have cocktails, that's what Punk and Mavis are doing with Clayton and Ellie at Southfork before they go to some fancy seafood restaurant, which they cannot stop talking about what they're going to eat there.
Yes. I'd like to go to the restaurant and see how Texas... No, I don't know if I want to see how Texas seafood is. I'm in New England. We don't want to...
It's right by the sea. Well, oh yeah, it's not going to compare. But I bet it's right by the sea. I don't know. Having lived in Seattle, there's such a difference living on a coast like that. I live in Michigan, which we're surrounded by lakes, but it's all freshwater fish, which is different than saltwater.
Yeah, the saltwater fish, it just has a different je ne sais quoi to it.
Pacific salmon, better than Atlantic salmon. Just going to say it.
No salmon is good in my book because I'm not a salmon eater, so... I don't like the only fish. It's just not my... I like whitefish. Call me racist. No, just kidding. No.
I used to think that I hated fish when I was a kid, and then I realized, no, I just like really expensive fish. I like fancy fish.
Fancy fish. Similar to Fancy Feast.
Fancy Feast.
So they're going to go to this restaurant, and then Bobby comes in with Christopher, bringing him home from Pam's, where the ladies instantly rush up to him to offer to help put him to bed.
To put
Christopher to bed. Help read him a story.
Yes. Ugly baby. No.
He's not ugly. He's cute.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it now?
I guess. Yeah, no, I think it's adorable. But Punk finds this a really good time to get Clayton alone and basically ask him about his intentions with Ellie, which I think is kind of adorable.
It sounds like a father wondering what the boyfriend's intentions are with his daughter.
I think Punk is taking on the kind of like I was Jock's best friend role. Like, is he worthy of you kind of role, like situation. So
like, do not fuck her over.
Do not fuck her over.
I will end you.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Suppose Mavis didn't exist. And would Ellie have ended up with Punk maybe? And how would JR have reacted to having Punk Anderson as his stepfather?
I've never thought about that before.
Because
I think if there was no Mavis
or Clayton, let's see.
Maybe. Actually, it would have maybe been a really interesting story if there had been a thing between like Punk and Ellie. Like, and he was with Mavis.
Oh.
And then Punk realizes, like, maybe I have feelings for Ellie. That would have been interesting.
And how would JR have reacted to Punk being his stepfather? Because he acted different to Punk than he did to Clayton. He would.
True, because that was his daddy's friend. He respects Punk. He's in the cartel. But I think JR has
nobody
that
can
thing.
replace his daddy. Nobody can take his daddy's chair.
Right. I think JR has that thing where like nobody's good enough for my mama.
Frank Cruncher.
And then he's like, don't touch my mama, whatever. I think he's just gonna be like weird about it.
Yeah, that could have been an interesting dynamic to explore though, if
yeah, I literally never thought about that before. But yeah. Punk, I mean, those fabulous suits and those belt buckles.
And the turquoise and the...
Yeah. Yeah, he accessorized it. Like, that man's style and hair? Yeah.
But he can't belt
Punk.
out a tune like Clayton, though.
That's true. Yes. And Clayton is... That is a thing, and I know I've said this probably a million times, but I did not get the Clayton thing till this viewing, and now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Like he's an old man, but he's kind of hot. But so Clayton says basically he likes Ellie a lot. He has so much fun with her. They have a great bond, but he doesn't think that Ellie will ever leave Southfork, nor would he really want her to. And there's not enough room at Southfork for another man, which just eye roll toxic masculinity.
There's plenty of room there for another man.
You can't replace the jock cock.
There's a bunch of boys walking around swinging their dicks, but there's enough room for all of them. Trust me. You're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Flash forward to it's now nighttime in Puerto Rico. JR has to stay overnight because Garcia.
But he's thoughtful enough to call home.
Because Garcia kept him waiting in a game of one-upsmanship for 4 hours.
And he missed the last flight out.
That's a pretty big deal for JR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does
like reassuring her.
He does the husband thing, and he calls Sue Ellen. Like, okay, good for him. I mean, you're still on my shit list right now, dude, but all right. 1 point back in your favor.
Right. Although
she tells him to hurry home, and she's way warmer. She's like, okay, all right. I get this. That this was all bullshit.
Yes. Which is why she places a call to Miss Moonraker herself, Holly Harwood.
She's like, we should meet. And I'm like,
somewhere.
Wallen's not afraid of anybody.
As the British say, somewhere privet.
Right. So she's gonna go to her home office, Holly's home office,
and see that male secretary.
So then Ellie is visiting Donna for breakfast, which Donna is really excited about because Ellie, I guess, has been a little busy with Clayton.
Yeah, helping him try to find a spread.
They have a very similar
find a new place.
They have a very similar conversation to Punk and Clayton about feelings.
Right.
And Ellie's even like,
feelings.
Miss Ellie's even like, I don't even, what does she say? I don't even know if I want to examine my feelings. Is that what she said?
She's just basically like, I'm having fun. I really enjoy his company, but I'm not ready for like a change, like from friendship to like, I'm enjoying his friendship. I don't need it to change.
We're not going to rock the boat. We're not rocking the boat.
I think Clayton's all in, but he senses Ellie's hesitation.
The transition, they're worried about that transition point from friends to more than friends, and that can go wrong.
Well, and she has also been a widow for a lot less time than he has.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Ben 50 years since she's probably been with anyone else. So it's going to be probably a little intimidating too. I don't know.
I can imagine there'd be some intimidation factor. You're getting with somebody you haven't been with. That's nervous like an airplane. Nervous first time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then the next morning, JR goes straight from the airport to the office
Kendall,
where Mr. McIntyre is waiting.
Fine.
And so is Coffee.
Kendall is always looking fine when we see her in the office.
Oh, yeah. Kendall's always fine. Her hair is always ginormous.
Shout out to Donna and the 3 Ds, as we call them.
Yes.
Because they are friends of the podcast.
Yes, friends of the pod. So Mr. McIntyre has the visa for JR, and JR is super excited.
Talk about a quick turnaround. He has to go tomorrow.
Right.
There are going to be some tourists on this.
To make it look more legit. The cartel's having a liquid lunch at the Cattlemen's Club.
The cartel.
But no Marilee Stone.
That's true. No Marilee. Just the dudes.
Because Fern Fitzgerald was off being a badass somewhere.
Something badass.
Yeah.
You know she was. And you can tell they're all a little like...
Lubricated?
Half in the bag in this scene.
Lubricated?
Mostly Cliff. Yeah.
Cliff, we know Cliff is lubricated because they offer to buy Bobby a drink when they see him.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, because so Bobby walks in and Cliff is doing this weird, like, I'm being super nice to you, but also like a weird double-edged, I don't know, some like middle school girl bullshit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
So he tries to sell him. He's like, hey, you should sell me your Canadian fields because, you know, like, I'm here to help and whatever. And Bobby's just like, I can't, no, I'm not going to do that. And he's like, but you should. And he's like, hell would freeze over before I did that.
And then Cliff makes the fatal mistake in this conversation of poking his nose into Bobby's marriage.
Oh, he brings up Pam's name. It's like, dude, you just,
low blow. Yeah. But his marriage.
I'm surprised Bobby didn't go Will Smith on him like Will Smith did to Chris Rock, and don't you ever let my wife's name come out of your mouth.
Well, no.
He does threaten to beat him up, so we do have to drink because Bobby threatens to beat someone up.
Yeah, I'm on water now.
And then you can see how much he's been hanging out with Katherine, though, because he calls him a nasty little man, which is totally a Katherine line.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is
like too much, Bobby, too much.
Although does Katherine say pathetic little man sometimes too? She's like,
I think so. That sounds familiar.
I'm sure it's the little man. She likes to call.
She likes to demean him, like
little man.
in spoiler when Pam is and the Katherine turns up at the sleep on, little sister.
Sleep.
Weird.
She's not your little sister. She's your older sister. But it's just more of a tables turn.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
End spoiler.
That's funny.
And spoiler.
Nasty little man.
And then Lil is at dinner with everybody, and she's just
she
like,
arrives. She arrives.
She arrives. That's right. Sorry. I just read that she is super impressed with just everything. Raymond made this house with his own 2 hands.
We learned that they have 600 acres.
Yeah.
That was.
Is that Southfork or is that Ray and Donna?
No, I think Southfork is close to like 100,000 acres. So Ray has 600 acres.
Okay.
So.
That is a good little trivia.
Yes. Right, Raymond.
Right. Pretty good for a dumb
cowboy. Well, we don't want to mimic Steve too much because we are in the process of trying to book him on the podcast.
I mean, do you think that he would actually be offended? I don't think that he'd be offended by that. I mean, he's gonna be cool with us making fun of Ray,
I hope
right?
so,
I
yeah.
hope so, because
I did the dumb. I did not only did I do the Jordan Lee impression for Fern Fitzgerald, I did the Steve Ray dumb cowboy impression for her too. So
just dumb cowboy. So Sue Ellen goes to visit Holly at her bedroom office.
yes, and there's her male secretary person.
She's like the original work from home girl. Like she's like 40 years ahead of the curve. So Sue Ellen is like on point in the scene, and she walks in and she's basically like, I know the whole thing. I know what you've been doing. But you better step back, girl.
It stops right now, you sick little girl. You're a very sick little girl.
Sick little girl. Like, oh, Sue Ellen, dang, she's pulling rank.
Oh, yeah.
I give her major props in this episode. This is like the Sue Ellen of the later years.
It is. I love, like, this is like just scenes of like all Sue Ellen could be, you know?
I wish she could have been a power couple with JR for a long time and could have gone toe to toe with Abby and Sumner. And just so many missed opportunities. Yeah. Lucy at Ewing Oil.
But then we cut to Porn Stash. He's impatiently waiting for Pam at the Majestic Hotel. And he's worried about her and doesn't like to be alone.
That's right.
Man.
And then she's like, wait, I thought we agreed that you weren't coming here with me and that you were going to totally be alone. And he's like, what? Yes, I totally said that, but that's because I was lying.
I lied.
I lied because, you know what? I want to be with you, Pam. And Pam smiles at that.
And like, I'm kind of like Pinocchio, Pam, except the wrong thing is growing when I lie. Just
wrong thing's growing the whole time.
Man.
Just look at my.
And they're just like, thank you so much for worrying about me.
Look at my trouser rope dope.
This is the ick. This is the ick.
This is her being like, this is, come back to this because I'm not completely against it.
Yeah, because Bobby is being a dick, and there's this very attractive man right here in front of her. I get it. They are kind of separated. Not really.
They are separated.
Yeah.
I mean, she's living apart.
They're still fucking, though. And she's still wearing his ring, right?
She is still wearing his ring. They did fuck, but then she's like, that was just sex.
That was just a moment, yeah.
It was just a moment.
I feel used.
Like,
this is a longer separation than when she lived with Leanne Reese.
Yeah, this is much longer. Like, I wonder how long it's been. Or how long it's supposed to. I'm like, it's a while.
Well, Sue Ellen was pregnant with John Ross, so. And Omri's not there yet, so John Ross is like, what, 3 or 4? So.
No, I mean, since she's been not living in Southfork.
Since Pam moved out after Rebecca's plane crash.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this point has probably been
a few months.
A few months.
Well, we're in March, and the plane went down. It was the episode was titled "The Crash of '83," so it was probably January.
2 months.
2 months worth of
6
episodes.
weeks, something like that.
A few months, yeah. So not a long time. Like they could still get back together. Still, probably not good. Not enough time for her to be fucking someone else in France.
No.
Now, am I the only one that doesn't say Mark in my notes? I actually write Porn Stash.
No, I write Porn Stash. Every once in a while, I make a mistake and write Mark, but I almost always write Porn Stash.
I write Porn Stash too.
Oh, good. Ready? Let's Porn Stash.
Porn Stash. Porn Stash.
Porn Stash. That's for you, Amy Hara, because you made that comment about Porn Stash in California.
Porn Stash.
So then, on the other side of this coin, Bobby arrives at Katherine's.
Weird.
And And he's like, oh, look at you in that dress. You look so nice.
Is this the one where she has the gold shoes on?
You're pouring gas on the fire.
The shiny gold shoes?
Yeah. Maybe. I didn't notice, but probably. But she knows his favorite drink. She's like, scotch, right? And he was like, yeah. And then she tells him her good news that she has a lead on something called the Tundra Torque. And this guy is willing to talk to Bobby.
Bobby, I want you to test your Tundra Torque on my oil hole.
Yeah, she definitely wants his Tundra Torque.
She wants to be... Yeah, she wants her oil fields drilled.
And then Bobby's like, Katherine, if you can do this for me, I will do anything for you that you want.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
And you get to see her face. She's just like, oh, I have ideas, Bobby. I have ideas. She's like, well, for starters, you could take me for dinner. AKA take me on a date, Bobby.
And you could divorce your wife and marry me.
And then I'll let you have some dessert.
Cream pie.
Oh my God. Yep.
Oh, yeah. She's sick of that hotel food.
Yeah, sick of the hotel food. That's it.
Hotel food really isn't fully nasty. It's...
Not that hotel. You know that hotel has the restaurant that people go to the hotel to eat at.
Right. Although the exteriors of the hotel look an awful lot like the Ewing condo building.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many buildings look exactly the same.
It is really, yeah.
Speaking of dinner,
Lil cannot get over how fancy this fancy pants dinner is.
And she's not going to eat dessert until she finishes every bite on her plate.
Right, because she can't waste food or money in this fancy pants restaurant, in this fancy pants town.
But before that, she's proud of Michael, but she's concerned about his relationship with Lucy.
Yeah, because she's proud that he proved himself there. Okay, interesting choice of words. And then, she gets really... And then Lucy's like, he's amazing. And he's great. And then, he's like, yeah, because Lucy is also amazing. And she just gets so immediately weird about it.
Lil, someone's saying something nice about your kid. What? Don't get weird.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you guys aren't getting too serious too quick, are you? And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, all right. They're just saying they like each other. You should be happy.
Are you going steady? Are you going to...
I wonder...
The enchantment under the sea dance?
Get your hands off her, Biff.
If maybe... We don't know much about Mickey's dad, do we?
We don't know anything, I don't think.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if she's like speaking from experience here or if that's the way they were trying to go.
I don't think in the entire time a father is ever mentioned at all.
Nope.
And obvious, he's either a deadbeat, a donor,
or he's dead
because
or he's dead.
He doesn't turn up later when things are going on either.
I would assume dead.
Yeah, more than likely.
Because she's obviously, it doesn't seem like she's working. So maybe there's like life insurance or something there. Like taking care of her.
That's true.
Is she
and if she's in her mid 50s and it was like the early 80s, she may have been retired already.
That's what 50s looked like back then? Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Look at pictures of your grandparents. Like me looking at pictures of like my grandmother and I'm like, how old is she? 73? And she's like 46. And I'm like,
there's pictures of my grandmother holding me like when I was a little baby and she was 54 at the time. And I was like, in what universe? Like this woman looks like she's in her late 60s.
Because most people didn't dye their hair at the time.
Her hair was still, her hair was like auburn, brown, red. But it was like just the glasses and the curls, It was the little lady perm, but with color.
And the style of glasses people wore at that time.
Oh, yeah. Coke bottles.
Yeah. And some of those like librarian, like really pointy on the side.
Oh yeah, she wore those too, especially in the 50s.
I wear my grandmother's cat eye frames because I think they're cool.
That's awesome. But we're getting near the end, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Raymond.
Yeah. So Clayton and Sue Ellen run into each other in the Southfork living room, and just because, like, she's literally out of fucks completely. They like say hi to each other and they're pleasant, and then she's like, "Can we just stop all this bullshit?"
Sue Ellen's like, enough with the weird pleasantries. Like, no, this is weird. Like, she apologizes, kind of.
Like, I want to be friends with you. Like, I don't want it to be weird anymore. Like, I care about you. And then Clayton agrees, and he's like, because we're going to be seeing a lot of each other. So you're right. We need to get this out of our way. We will always be friends.
Yes.
And then they toast to their friendship.
And
he says that he's still one of the finest men she has ever known, which I think is pretty true. And hugs him.
And who sees this? Ellie.
Ellie, as she looks on, a jealousy silently emoting drink.
Ellie, if you were standing there long enough, you would have heard their conversation. You would know there's nothing to it.
Right. Yeah. No, she's just getting sensitive and little, I don't know.
Now, I just sent this meme to the group text. Behold the field in which I grow my fucks. Lay thine eyes upon it, and thou shalt see that it is barren.
None left to give. Yep.
Basically, none left to give.
So, JR won't tell Sly where he's going because he doesn't want to put her in any weird predicaments.
Right. She could be an accomplice if he gets busted going into Cuba.
That's true. Yeah.
So, going into Cuba from America is a crime.
Right. Well, guess what?
Right. Which I think, I mean, I wonder when that changed to be less than, where it's just like they don't want you to, but it's not really super bad.
Yeah.
Let me do some history looking.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Was it?
So then Sly leaves and passes Holly as Holly walks in.
And he tells her he's going to Cuba. And will be coming back with their money.
And then she gets really excited, and then she's just like, oh my gosh, when you get back, I'm going to have a surprise for you. It's going to be a night that you will never forget.
Oh, boy.
And Jared's like, tell me more.
Tell me more. Tell me more. Did she put up a fight?
So then we cut to JR and the Americans the next day arriving in Havana, where the Americans seem like kind of bumbling idiots. And then JR is immediately taken into military custody.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like yelling, and they're like basically like, shut up in Spanish. They're like, silencio. And he's like, I will not be silent. It's such a JR Ewing thing to say.
Oh,
like, I will not be silent.
I will not go quietly into that good night. And wait till later.
Oh my God. It's like, well, now you done fucked up.
But while things are going south for JR, things are going better for Bobby because he meets with Mr. What's his name? Sperry?
Sperry, yeah.
He's going to get that drill bit, apparently.
Yeah, he's like, we only have one, so it's not enough to drill a whole field. He's like, I just need to drill one hole. One hole.
I need to drill one oil.
One oil.
I need to drill one hole, and it's Katherine.
I just need one oil.
I need to drill Katherine because she wants to.
I just need one oil, please. Just one.
One oil will make me the money. That's all I need.
One oil. One tiny bit of
one oil.
And then he will sell off and let somebody else deal with the long term. He just needs to win this contest. And it's basically
that's all he needs. And so they are psyched, and Katherine and Bobby are embracing and going out to celebrate.
Oh, celebrate. Yay. And he tells Phyllis to get Thornton McLeish on the phone at some. Yes.
Oh, right.
Track him
Oh,
down.
yeah, Canadian dude. So he's like, hey, man, I got a drill bit for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Catherine wants, like we've said, Catherine wants Bobby's drill bit in her field.
Mm-hmm.
And Mickey is swimming in his jorts again. Which just like get a swimsuit, dude. I don't understand.
Or
Like, that
even your
cannot
boxers.
be comfortable.
Like
Your boxers.
These are
like,
jeans?
Jean
Wet?
shorts? What? There should be nothing. This could be heavy. This could be like
chafing on your nutsack?
chafing. Right.
No.
Okay.
It's still a little piece of Emporia still in Mickey.
I guess. Lil is there, and she's just basically like, she's being such a weirdo about all the rich stuff, and Mickey's like, chill, man, it's fine, like it's all cool. She doesn't think so. Then we go to the Cattlemen's Club, where Bobby and Katherine are celebrating the Tundra Torque. It just sounds so. Now every time I say it, it sounds sexual.
It sounds
years
like a
ago on
sexual
the Dallas
position,
forum,
doesn't it?
Years ago on the Dallas forum, we had this thing called the Caption Club. This thread where people would post like screenshots from the show and you'd caption them. And this whole storyline about the Tundra Torque was supposed to be about a line of like dildo vibrators.
I mean, right. It's what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. So this is taking me back like probably 15, 16 years now. Longer.
It sounds like a sexual position.
It sounds like something sexual, and it's fine. I'm here for it. So then Cliff and Afton come in and decide to rain on the parade.
Oh God, Cliff rains on everybody's parade.
And this is a patented Cliff thing to do. He turns to leave and then he turns around to come back to say something else.
Yeah, pretends then he's like, oh wait, by
Cliff
the way.
is like, oh, and another thing.
Yeah, he's like in Vogue where he's like, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Never
It reminds me of Columbo when every time he'd turn around to leave, and then he'd turn around and go, oh, by the way, one more thing. Although he's not raining on anything.
He's trying to be. He thinks he's really clever. He's been like having this conversation in his head the whole ride over.
Right. Not knowing that he would run into Bobby at the Cattlemen's Club. So when he sees him, he has to take advantage of himself.
I bet he knew. I bet he knew where he was. Because he just got that phone call an hour ago. So then he's trying to figure out where Bob. I bet he called, hey, is Bobby Ewing there? Cool. Hey, Afton, you want to go to the Cattlemen's Club?
Yeah, because back then they couldn't be like, well, I'll relay a message if they're here. You know, back then they'd just tell you.
They'd just be like, yeah, Bobby's at table 5 with Katherine.
Back then it was text. Or no, now it was text. Zoom, text.
Yeah, okay. So then we cut to... So then Bobby just looks defeated. He's just like... Eeyore. And then we cut to JR being held in a Cuban prison, where he is basically
That's funny.
asking to see the manager. He is such a Karen in this scene.
A what?
Like, give me the head guy in charge.
You know who I am?
And everybody's like, yeah, fuck off. Like, whatever, shut up.
Yeah, no one gives
And
a
if
shit.
they lock him in his jail cell.
You're in Cuba, dude.
They lock him in his jail cell and slam it shut in darkness. I'm JR Ewing.
Well, guess what, dude?
My name is JR Ewing.
Guess what? Nobody is above the law.
That doesn't mean squat outside of your area.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody
cares.
Nobody's above the
You
law.
may be a big fish in a small pond, but you're a small fish in a big sea.
And then the freeze frame is on darkness. So I don't know what we're supposed to do here. It's not on JR, it's not on someone else. That's because it's on no one. So, yeah. So I guess we don't drink at the end of this episode?
No. We ponder the darkness.
Fine.
We take an imaginary drink.
All right. So I'm giving this one like 4.3 bourbons. That's all right. But Sue Ellen is my favorite part of this episode. So I'm giving it 4.3 bourbons and Sue Ellen's lack of fucks.
No.
I was pretty much going to say the same thing, honestly. It had something to do with Sue Ellen.
You still good.
Yeah. Okay. Except I was going to go 4.25, and the 0.25 was basically all Sue Ellen giving no fucks.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I'm giving it a 4.4 and a nice Cuban jail cell. Yeah.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
and
So,
little staring at her son's chest.
Ew. So the next episode is episode 25, episode 128 of this series. Do we know the title?
Let me get the book. I have the book in my hand. Tangled Webs.
Tangled Web. Yeah, because all those webs
And we are not
tangling.
talking about Charlotte's Web either.
No, Charlotte doesn't come on till next season.
Charlotte.
So thanks for joining us. Please hit that subscribe button and rate and review, whatever, all that shit. And we are going to start doing this recording live on Twitch. So if you have a Twitch account, our account is twitch.tv/EwingBBQ. Subscribe, and then you will see when we go live. I'm going to post our schedule and try to keep it as up to date as humanly possible. Right now, we're mostly planning to record Wednesdays at about 7 p.m. So please, subscribe, come and watch us record. You're going to see a lot more than you probably want to if you do that, but so anyway, anybody have anything else?
If you haven't had a chance to visit the Southfork page, social media, whatever form it takes, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, they had some cool pictures from their eclipse viewing party.
Oh,
they had
cool.
Something in SIP. So they had boxed lunches and everything, and it went totality over Southfork. So it just turned completely night, and then it came daylight again. And I know, I'm sure you've heard the stories that a lot of people were, a lot of animals and zoos were actually going to sleep thinking it was night, and then.
I didn't
and
know
in my
that.
neighborhood, the sky just got weird and it got cold. But all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking all at the same time. Lex just barked his head off.
We got like low 90s amount of totality.
Yeah, we had about 90.
Not as much in
93%.
2017. We got like almost. It was not 100, but we got like 98% in Washington.
Oh. So. Yeah, we had 93%.
Okay, so we're similar. The light was so
wasn't it
crazy.
weird? And the
so
shadows.
Cool. The shadows.
And the temperature obviously dropped too. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah.
I don't know. I saw an eclipse when I was a kid, and I didn't bother with this one yesterday. And I'll probably regret it now, but whatever.
There wasn't one yesterday. It was on Monday.
I walked outside.
Monday, whatever. Like, Monday, Tuesday. I don't know what day of the week it is.
I figured we weren't going to see one for another like 20 years, so might as well. Well, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
I'm on my way to Cuba. That's where I'm going. Cuba. That's where I'll stay.
Next on Dallas.
That's where we're going anyhow. Hang on!
There's an enormous attraction between you and me.
Mark, you know I'm married.
If you really were, you'd be with Bobby.
You remember I told you Mark Graison made one of his jets available to her? Well, what I didn't tell you was he was on it.